Hey, Naperville, Illinois is consistently ranked as one of the top cities to live in all of the country, but it's not exactly cheap to live here. Today, we're breaking down what it actually costs to live here in 26 and whether it makes financial sense for you. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Dave Greathouse, realtor with Real Broker license in both Illinois and in Ohio. And we're continuing our Living in Naperville series. In my last video, I talked about the pros and cons of living and moving here to Naperville. Today, we're going to dive into some numbers about what it actually costs to live here. And we'll break it up into two buckets. Obviously, since I'm an agent, I can talk to you a lot more about the housing costs, but also want to talk to you a little bit about lifestyle costs as well. So let's jump right into it. And your biggest expense, obviously, is going to be your house. And when I did some research on it recently, there's been about 300 sales here in the city of Naperville, just single family homes and townhouses over the last 90 days. And we'll break it down to you like this. An entry-level first-time home buyer should expect to spend anywhere between $450,000 and $550,000. If you're maybe wanting a bigger house, maybe you want that fourth bedroom or an office, a bigger yard, you're probably looking at between $550,000 and $700,000. Townhouses, probably between $350,000 and $550,000. And then obviously we have our luxury market, which starts around $1 million. So depending on where you're at in your life, I think those are some really solid numbers. The median sale price, I think, from all of those houses was roughly around 560 grand. So that gives you an idea. The national average is right around 390. So we are higher than the national average, but we're also not like houses in California. It's somewhat expensive here, but I wouldn't say it's the worst in the country by any means. Taxes, however, we are some of the highest property taxes in the country, right? Illinois itself, I think, ranks in the top 5 for highest property taxes. Naperville comes in right around 2.1 to 2.4% tax rate. So, for instance, you buy a $600,000 house, you're paying about 12 grand in taxes a year, or roughly $1,000 a month. So it's not cheap, right? You consider what you could do with $1,000 a month, and you could do a lot with that, right? So $1,000 a month for your taxes. Our homeowners insurance, most, I would say, buyers that I've been working with are in that $500,000 to $600,000 range, and they're getting quotes for insurance roughly around $1,800 to $2,200 a year. So say an extra $150 to $180 a month on homeowners insurance. Utilities, I didn't notice a big jump when I moved here from Ohio in utilities, whether it be water bill or gas or power. So I don't know, maybe you will, maybe you won't, but I just haven't seen it. So I wouldn't sit here and tell you that, oh man, you're going to expect this huge increase in your utility bills, because I just don't think that's the case. So I think it'll be somewhat normal compared to wherever you live today in Naperville. So I think for the biggest thing is the housing market. That should give you an idea for kind of where you will see the prices and how that will break down for your costs. Now, as far as lifestyle costs, I mean, we could break this thing down in a number of different ways, but just kind of like your day-to-day life living in Naperville. And then one of the things that I think I want to talk about is obviously commuting to downtown Chicago. A lot of people live here, do work in the city, and the easiest way to get there is to take the Metra, to take the train from Naperville to downtown. And if you're going to be doing that, 5 days a week, the best way for you to budget this is to just go ahead and take the Metra train, get yourself a monthly pass. I think we're one of the last stops on the train. So that means our costs are a little bit higher, but I think it's roughly $135 or so per month to get a monthly pass on the train. So if you're going to be living in Naperville, but working down in the city, that's something that you might want to budget for. I still think it's a heck of a value for what you get out of that. And it's a pleasant ride as far as I'm concerned. I think that the train is very, very underrated. aspect of living here in Naperville. As far as like daily, you know, life, living, lifestyle costs, I mean, daycare, I can't really speak too highly about it in terms of like, or I can speak about it because I don't have kids in daycare. For people that I've talked to, sure, it's expensive, but it's expensive everywhere. One thing that I will say that I did notice from moving out of state is when you go out to dinner, you go out to get drinks with your friends, you might notice a food and beverage tax. Now, this isn't necessarily unique to Naperville, but I did notice it because when I look down on my check and I see a 1.75% food and beverage tax, it added up, right? And Naperville itself has a 1% food and beverage tax, and then they add an extra 0.75 if you are dining in the downtown area. So 1.75. Look, it's not gonna make me never go downtown to have dinner, but it is something that I noticed, and it talks to just, I guess, the cost of living here. And I also have noticed a lot of vendors recently here that will charge an extra fee if, say, you use a credit card, like a processing fee of 3 to 4%. I mean, when you get your bill, you see a 3% charge for a credit card, you see a 1.75% charge for taxes. It starts to add up a little bit, right? And you do notice it. At least I have. So, look, it's not enough that you're going to say, "Oh, I'm never going out to dinner. I'm never going out to drinks." But it is something that I felt was necessary to let you guys know because I don't want you to be surprised the way that I was. So, listen, if you're hearing all these costs and you have to decide for yourself, does it make sense for you? Look, if you can afford it here, you can afford the housing prices. It makes a ton of sense to live here if you value things like good schools, community, a great downtown, and really long-term stability. I just can't imagine a time when Naperville is not a safe choice to own real estate in. So I really feel like it's a solid place if you can afford those costs. If you're considering it and you might think, oh, this might be a little bit high, I'd be happy to talk to you about some surrounding areas like Aurora, Warrenville, Lisle, Batavia, Bolingbrook, Downers Grove, Wheaton. These are all awesome communities with really, really nice places to live, their own little downtowns, and maybe a little bit cheaper in terms of the housing costs. And we're going to do a video on that here shortly. So stay tuned to the channel and make sure you subscribe for that as well. I'll put all of my information, guys, in the description box below. If you are considering moving to Naperville, you want to compare neighborhoods, you want to talk about surrounding communities, you want me to help you think through some options, please do not hesitate to reach out when you're ready to buy or sell that great house. And please consider subscribing to the channel. Like I said, I'm going to be doing a lot more content like this. Take care. We'll talk to you next time.